Welcome everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. As you guys know, for those that follow my channel, I usually put this over here. I usually do videos on how to hone razors, and I do my motovlog. But when it comes to sharpening, I haven't done much, if not at all, on how to sharpen kitchen knives. So this is my version of sharpening a kitchen knife 1001. So this is just the basics of how I refresh my kitchen knives. And I say refresh because most kitchen knives, when you buy them, they already come with an edge. And this is going to be how I do Japanese kitchen knives. So first thing you're going to need is a Japanese kitchen knife. And now this is a stainless steel Japanese made knife. It is not an expensive knife. I mean, the metal is not bad, but it's still stainless. Most of the sought out kitchen knives are going to be carbon, and they will take a better edge than this knife. Now this knife is excellent if you are learning how to sharpen kitchen knives. If you can make this really sharp, then your next step is to buy yourself, $200 knife to play with, right? But you don't want to try on a $200 knife first. So I bought this set fairly inexpensive. I don't know, 60, 80 bucks, and I have 4 knives total. And so really quick, Japanese knives are quite different from Western style because of the edge, how it is. Usually ours have a more curved edge, and when I say ours is Western style, because we're usually doing this rocking motion when we're cutting things. The Japanese style, I was gonna say razors. Japanese knives are not like that because they don't cut with that rocking motion like we do. They do use rocking motion, but not like we do. So another thing is that not all knives are the same, meaning that they don't have the same edge. So like this one is constructed kind of like a kamisori or a chisel, if you will. So it has the bevel goes down into an edge, but in this side, check it out, it is completely flat. So this one, it gets sharpened a little bit different. There's a variation on how do we do this one, but we're not going to do that one. It's a little bit more complicated. So now I'm not going to do the whole sharpening where I am. So let me go back. So all I'm going to do is refresh this edge. A lot of the times when you buy a kitchen knife, they come with a usable edge. So once you start, it doesn't start performing as you will like, then you need to refresh it. Now, what I'm talking about that I'm not going to do is, so you guys see that it has this portion here. It looks like a bevel, but that, if you see the edge, shiny. So I have the cutting edge, which I have a small bevel, micro bevel or a small bevel. That is the cutting edge. Now, realistically, it has 2 bevels, right? And there's a name for this portion here, but you will see a lot of videos where they lay it flat and they just barely lift, and then they start grinding here, and then they do the micro bevel. So I'm not going to be doing that, because you do that once you're the width, not the width, the height of the blade starts coming down. You want to do that to start wearing it with the edge, and this is not the case. So we're just going to do the edge, and that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to be using 2 Japanese stones. I'm going to be using this little guy. Is very muddy, and small, inexpensive, and I don't know what mine it came from, and it has some nice red specks on it. It looks really cool. And then I'm going to be using my Narutaki stone. I know you guys been waiting to see what was the results on my shave on this one. It was not very good. So let's get started and I start talking about that. So I like to raise a bevel, raise a slurry. And as you can see, that's fast. That's super muddy. This is a very muddy stone. So the shade was not very good. And so this Narutaki, I will put her in a pre-finishing category. But I have used it with knives with great success. So right now, this kitchen knife, let's see, it cuts, but not so good. When we're done with it, we should be able to slice straight through. So first thing first, how do we place the knife? So we're gonna place it completely flat, and then we are going to be moving upward until we feel the bevel. So the bevel is where you're making that point, right? What I like to do is I like to put at least 3 fingers on it, and I raise it until I feel it right there, right? So how do I hold it in the back? I hold it like so, 3 fingers in that motion. When I'm coming back, I put the fingers also, and this time I'm coming like that. So I'm holding like so, okay? Some people hold it here. This is how I do it, right? So I'm gonna start. So I'm gonna do like that, and then I'm gonna go forward and back. Need to get this. Give me a second. Let's get this a little wet here. There you go. Grapes better. All right. So what am I doing right now is sharpening. So I'm going back and forth. And I usually count about 20. Once I do this portion here, I'm going to start moving and I'm going to go at an angle. The reason I didn't go at an angle at first is because the handle is on the way. You have to try to maintain the angle of attack of the knife. All right, guys, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I put a stand on it. All right, so we were here, raise. So why do I have these 2 fingers on the top? Those 2 fingers on the top are just there as a guide. I am not using them to push down. I am using them as a guide to help me maintain the angle, right? I'm feeling. So usually a lot of people will go in one side until they feel a burr in the other side. And I explain what that is in a second. So I start with a nice and muddy stone. It's nice and soft. That means that it's going to be a lower grit. It's going to provide a nice toothy cutting surface, cutting edge. And you know, some people like that toothy edge in some other kitchen knives. All right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to check for the burr. So as I'm going like this, metal is getting pushed upward that way. So if I touch with my finger like so, and both sides, you can actually feel it, the burr sticking out this way. Once you get that burr sticking out the other way, this way, then you're gonna move to the side where the burr is, right? I usually do that when I'm setting that bevel, that edge, that cutting edge, but in this one, I'm not gonna do that because that edge is already set. For me, there's no point, I'm just refreshing. So in this side, I'm gonna go at an angle right away. I'm going to lift until I find that edge, and then I'm gonna go back and forth. And you're gonna maintain that angle. As such. So guys, the Narutaki is still a great stone. It's just not a finisher for razors. It is definitely a finisher for knives, for kitchen knives, and a pre-finisher for razors. We're gonna see her in action. Not applying too much pressure, just enough to have that contact. Right? I'm gonna go to the other side. The cool thing is you can feel it when you have a burr. Like I felt that there was a little bit of burr. You can feel it like a little scratchy noise, and then it smooths out. Once it smooths out, you're getting rid of that burr. So what am I gonna do now is I'm gonna do passes very similar to what I do on a straight razor. Not a lot of people do these on kitchen knives. I do, and what I'm doing is I'm controlling that burr. So that burr is like so, right? Like a triangle. And every time you hone in one side, let's say this side, you create a burr that way. But when you do one pass and one pass, you're controlling that burr from not going too much into one side. It works for me, and that's how I do it. You don't need a big stone. As you can see, this is not a very big stone. All right, so I think we should be good to go to the next stone. Let's do it. Let's rinse her off. I'll show you what I got so far. And let's put the Narutaki on it. So now this Narutaki is nice and hard. It's going to make this edge nice and fine. This kitchen knife, for my purposes, I'm not a chef, so for my purposes, that's great right there. When I got really into doing kitchen knives, my wife was complaining that the kitchen knives were too sharp, and that's what she felt, that they're too sharp. So now I don't make them as sharp. This one I'm gonna go maybe a little sharper than I usually do them for her. I'm covering a little bit of the light. All right. So let's see. If you guys can, if the light can catch it. It's not very shiny, but you guys can see it. All right. So I'm gonna do the same process in this one. I'm gonna start the opposite way just because, to make it more fun. Right? So I did about 20 passes in 3 spots. I did one here, one there, one there. So about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then I go to the next. And I'm overlapping as I'm going. I'll make a video on how to set that bevel and or sharpen one for the very first time. All right. So that should be good for those. That slurry is like mounting on the blade. If I was doing a razor, I would be very impressed right now. All right. I'm gonna do a couple on just water, nice and smooth. Some people use even leather to strap kitchen knives. I don't. I used my palm before, but not that serious. All right. So let's try it. See how we're doing with this knife. Now there's different ways to try if your kitchen knife is cutting well. Some people use paper, some people use tomatoes. So we're gonna use paper. Man, I made a mess. So let's see. My kids recycling paper. Let's see. I'll say that is quite. Oh, I didn't catch it right. There it is. Got me scared there for a second. Oh. So it is sharper, just not in this part here. I can feel it. Get another piece of paper. Let's see it. Let's see. There you go. There you go. So that's one way to try it. So that right there is not the sharpest kitchen knife you've seen, but that right there is sharp enough, and I'm going to show you. There you go. So the paper trick, it depends on what uses you have for your kitchen knife. Obviously, some, depending on how well you sharpen it or not well, to what level, it will cut straight through paper. But it depends on what you're gonna use it for. Like this is just great for me. Look, it just digs in. As I just barely press, it's just, I can, look at that. Okay, so that is on a stainless steel kitchen knife. Actually, that, get it away from that slurry. And there you guys have it. That is the simplest way to refresh a kitchen knife, and you know, it took like 20-30 minutes because I'm talking a bunch, but usually in 10 minutes I refresh it, and it's good to go, and it's ready to cut anything in your kitchen. Now if you are a chef or you wanted to be, you know, cutting very delicate cuts of meat and stuff like that, then you obviously want a better quality kitchen knife. But that's what I got so far, guys. It was fun making this video. Please check out the Etsy store, link below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch with you guys later. Thanks.